So we have some of our people here who think then that slavery was back then and had nothing to do, and had nothing to do with them. Ladies and gentlemen, we've never escaped slavery. We still share the slave consciousness of our great-great-grandparents. We are of the same mind to a great extent that they were. We have not advanced beyond these people. How can I say that? I generally ask a series of questions. You say that slavery has nothing to do with you and slavery was back there. And I ask you the question then, what language do you speak? When did you learn that language? Was that the language African people were speaking when we were taken into slavery in America? In other words, the language we speak at this moment is what? A slave language. The language that our slave ancestors were forced to learn. And we still speak it, and you can still hear the pidgin, the Creole, and the other kinds of stuff in our language right at this moment that they had to go through. That language, with its words defined by history and by an experience, is the language we use today to guide our behavior. It's the language we use today to talk to ourselves. It's the language we use today to learn about ourselves and to learn about the world. It's the language today we use to try to understand ourselves. Is there no wonder then that we are still confused? So we have not escaped slavery because we are still using a slave language, and we speak the language of slaves. What kind of food do you eat? You say soul food? Was that the food of African people? Slave food. The food that we find most satisfying, the food that we find that sticks to our ribs, the food that we call down home, a food that we learn to eat in the quarters. And yet we dare say that we have escaped slavery, that we have nothing to do with those people back there, that was back there. When our whole very social life and social relationships, our very definition of ourselves as a people, our very attempt to commune with ourselves is mediated by the food of slaves. Understand what I'm trying to get at? And how can you say that you exist in a different consciousness from another people? What kind of uniforms are we wearing? Huh? What kind of clothes are we wearing? Were these the clothes of African people? Huh? This is what we got to look at. Yes. What is this to say then that we've escaped slavery? What kind of names do we respond to? Yes. Yes. Tamikas and all these other things we got going out here. What kind of names do we identify with? Why is it that African names sound strange to us now as a people, and yet we dare say that we have a different consciousness from our great slave grandparents? How can we say that? We are still of the same consciousness, and we are still in the same position because we are still servants of the white man. And our reason for being in America is to serve white folk and to generate wealth for them. And there has been no change at all in terms of our relationship to these people. The values that we pursue are slave values and the values of servants. The social relations that we create and interact with were built and developed during the periods of slavery. We have not escaped it at all. But it is time for us to change the slave consciousness, this consciousness of servitude that is still too much with us today. And ultimately, we ask the question that's closest to home for a lot of people. When we claim that we've escaped slavery, and the slavery was something back there which had nothing to do with us today. And then I ask you the question, what kind of God do you worship? What's the name of it? Who taught you to praise him? Was this the God you were praying to before you were brought to these shores? Was this the religion you had before you were brought to these shores? Can you name one African God? How can you then, who define yourself, the very essence of yourself and the very essence of your soul, and organize the very nature of your life here on earth, based on a God handed to us by our slave masters, claim that you have no slave consciousness and are not related to slavery? In other words, then, ladies and gentlemen, we are not Africans. We are possessed by spirits and demons. We have let another people's spirit take possession of our bodies and take possession of our minds. When we speak, it is not with our African voice. It is with the voice of that demonic presence that uses our lips to speak its own language. Yes. Yes, and we have to recognize this. We are possessed. And if we are to transform ourselves and to transform that the nature of our relationship with those who are our masters, we must engage in an exorcism and clear the devils out of our minds.
And when you're subject to a system where the system is designed to be insulted, and that's the system of racism, and all non-white people are subject to that system, that's my evaluation, then you can expect to be insulted each and every day, either directly or indirectly, even when you don't think you're being insulted, even when the insulting language is not used. You're still being insulted by being subject to an insulting system, because the system of racism is insulting, and that's the only system that we have ever known. And when I say we, I mean the people who are classified as non-white. The white supremacists, and they are, that's the correct title for them, of this planet, are the dominant political and religious force and economic force, if you want to use the term economics. I don't use it within that context, but they are the dominant people on the planet when it comes to non-white people. So non-white people can expect. We shouldn't get jolted when we're insulted or call names, anything like that. You can't, there's no way to pretty it up anyway. And when people do try to pretty up an incorrect system, then they're going more into the realm of illusion. And that is going to engender more frustration, confusion, and ultimately disappointment and anger. Because you can't walk around trying to evade reality. We're in a racist system. We are not in any other system. Racism is not something that people encounter every now and then. We're in a racist system. The entire system is racist. There's no part of the system that is not racist. in every area of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And what does that mean? It means that the people who have chosen to be racist, meaning white supremacists, have become the most powerful political and religious people on the planet when it comes to non-white people. People who are classified as black, brown, red, yellow, tan, beige, etc., etc. And so therefore, that's an insulting system. And so black people have gotten to the place, particularly in the modern times, since what we call the post-chattel slavery, black people expect to be respected. That's why black people kill each other, many of them, many of the younger black people more than anybody, about this thing called dissing or being disrespected. You're in a disrespectful system, and all the killing that black people do among each other all the time, saying you're disrespecting me, therefore I have to kill you so that you won't disrespect me anymore. And then you run right into the same thing again and again and again. How many bodies can you stack up? Because you are being disrespected in a disrespectful system. If you're classified as black, you're not supposed to be respected. You're on a slave ship. The entire planet is a slave ship. It's not called that, but that's basically what it is. And the destination of that ship is just its own destination, meaning subjugation to the system of racism. There's no black person anywhere on the planet who is not subject to the system of racism. So you wake up in the morning, go through the day, and go to bed that night, and all through the night while you're asleep, you're being disrespected. You're being insulted because you have been put into a prison based on your color. That is one of the biggest insults, not only that a person can receive, but it's really a slap in the face and an attempted insult to the creator of the universe. But the white supremacists don't care about that. They don't mind insulting the creator of the universe. They'll say, I don't like your creation. You made all these black, brown, red, and yellow people and put them among me. I'm supposed to have the planet to myself. And since they're here, though, I will insult them and I will kick them around. Your product, even though I am your product, I don't want to be bothered with these other products that you made. So actually, they are not only at war with the black people of this planet, they're at war with their creator and with ours. Unless I've been misinformed.
The average white person, about the time they're 16 years old, they know all the rules. They picked it up by osmosis, meaning just by being around people and observing and listening and whatnot, being around the dinner table and all like that when political talk is going on. You know, the little white girl, the little white boy who's sitting there, I mean, he's 6 years old, but he hears, you know, his white grandfather sitting up there talking about that blankety blank Obama and whatnot, and all the rest of those heathen niggas are ruining, you know, the society and all like that, and on and on and on. Now, he's 6 years old. About the time he's 15, he's well schooled, and he hasn't said a word to anybody. He's, you know, by the time he gets ready to go to school, he knows the fundamentals, and by the time he gets to about the 8th or 9th grade, he's got it just about pat. Now, every now and then he'll make some mistakes. You know, he'll choose a white buddy or something a black buddy or something like that. I mean, he'll be on the football team and all like that. But for the most part, he knows the rules. He knows where the line is. And he's not supposed to cross it. Because when he does, he'll be crossing his grandfather, who's still sitting on that porch rocking back and forth. You know. Now, boy, you know better than that. It's okay, you be nice and kind to the people. Don't call them names and all like that. But after all, don't forget, you're a white man now. You got to remember that. That means something. I didn't go all the way through the wars and all like that fighting for you to wind up being like them. It's all right for you to be around them and do a little laughing and talking and all like that, but you're a different species altogether, and don't you forget it. How do you think that we got all that we got? By being like them? Look at them. Look at them. Drive through where they live. Look at the way they act. Do you think that's an improvement? You know? And so, you know, they stand there and look, and then they go out and check it out. And they say, no, you know, I'd rather, hey, it's something to being white. You get a lot of things out of being white that you won't get if you're black.
For sure.
Yeah, see, so they see that. I mean, they ain't blind, you know. Are you in a better position being white, or are you in a better position being black anywhere in the world? And every white person is, you know, a 30-year-old white person, they don't know that. I mean, you know, even if they are blind, they know that much. I mean, a blind white person doesn't even know what a black person looks like. If somebody's told him he's white, he knows what that means. That's a much better position, you know, because he's listening. He got ears.
For sure.
Yeah. When you produce poison, you get some of it on it yourself. That, going back to the way this program started today and the way it starts on many occasions, we start with that scene from The Godfather. What did The Godfather say, sitting there at the table with Barzini and the Italians and the rest of the criminal families? He said, this drug business, it will destroy us. Said, you're talking about keeping it among the black people up there in Harlem, among the coloreds. Let them destroy themselves. They're nothing but animals anyway. That's what you're saying. But you don't understand the nature of drugs. The next thing you know, our own children will be using it. And that's what I don't want to be a part of. That's what Don Corleone was saying to the Barzinis and the Tatalias. And that's what happens in the system of white supremacy. But the system of white supremacy also is set up on a percentage basis, so that the real smart white supremacists have said, oh, yeah, of course, we're going to have some white sacrifices in our army. We're going to have to sacrifice some of our own people. Some of our own children are going to get caught up in nonsense. But we will still have the basic power. We will never let those black people start doing anything constructive on a scale where we can't control them. So we will do it on a percentage basis. For every 10,000 of them who is all messed up, we will probably have maybe a couple of thousand or maybe 500 of our own that are all messed up. But percentage-wise, we'll always hold the power, hold the reins of what goes on in the world. Cost of doing the business of white supremacy is going up simply because most of the dark people, or many of the dark people on the planet now, are becoming smarter and more constructive than they ever have been before. So the more constructive, the smarter, and that's what you mean by smart, in a constructive sense rather than a destructive sense. Many people all over the world now, when you look at the dark-skinned people of the world, the non-white people, many of them are beginning to think about doing something, breaking away from their old habits and doing something constructive and thinking constructively, trying to learn how to do things that will have a constructive result. Now, this is always bad for the criminal enterprise called white supremacy. This is always very foreboding to them. But they have got to modify what they do because they are being forced to. So that means more white sacrifices. So you'll see more white people out here doing simple-minded things, but not on such a grand scale that the entire system of white supremacy comes apart.
Interesting.
If it starts heading toward that tipping line, see, they know where that tipping line is. they will open up on black people like you wouldn't believe.
What do you mean by when you say open up?
I mean open up with wholesale violence to put us in our place. Say, look, you're getting too far out of hand now. You're being too. You are not supposed to be a constructive people. So I am going to drop a bomb on you or whatever it is. But you are not going to be a constructive people. As long as you are destructive, fine. As long as you are doing what you do in Rwanda and what these gangs do over here in this area of the world and all like that, just going, running around with machetes and whatnot, slaughtering each other, no problem. We love that. That's entertainment for us. As long as you're using drugs and selling drugs to each other and glorifying it and all like that and then killing each other because of the drugs, that's fine. As long as you're riding around on bicycles or drive-by shootings and whatnot and robbing people and whatnot, I mean, that's fine. We all endorse that. That's what we want you to do. You're nothing but trash anyway. We will want to see you a trashy people. We don't want to see you doing anything constructive unless it's something constructive for us, we white supremacists, because we will make you do what is constructive for us. This is why the pretty buildings and the pretty neighborhoods are all where we are. You know that because we see to it that it's that way. But wherever you are, we want you to just tear it up, break it up, put graffiti all over the place, write graffiti even on yourselves in the form of what they call tattoos. Just walk around looking like zombies. I mean, just wild, broken glass, broken heads, broken bodies, yellow tape all over the place, blinking lights. Wherever you find black people, you see, as soon as it gets dark, blinking lights all over the place. Cartridges, 9mm lying all over the place with yellow circles around them. How many shots were fired?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what you call the typical black life. That's black culture. That's black culture at its very best, and which means that it's just about all of black culture. Wherever you go in the world, that's what you'll see. Whenever you see black people, this is what you're going to see. Nothing constructive going on at all. That's the way we want it. And when they start showing signs of being constructive, oh, that's bad for our business. That's bad for our business.
So that's not a good business model for white supremacy.
No, that's not a business model for black people at all. No, they are breaking out of their, no, we can't have that. They're doing something constructive. Get down there and start some mess. As fast as you can. And we know how to do that.
That's heavy.
We white supremacists. Something that is very destructive. Whatever is going to cause destruction is evil. That's basically it.
Okay.
Now, everybody is capable of doing something that is destructive. And the white supremacist wants to emphasize destructive activity, evil activity, something that's going to always have a non-constructive result among dark-skinned people. This is their goal. They don't want to see non-white people doing anything that's constructive. They panic when they see that. If you're doing anything that makes sense, they practically lose their minds. No, we can't have them like that. We got to have them in a state of mind where they're doing stupid stuff all the time, destructive stuff all the time. Anytime that you look up and dark-skinned people are coming around, something very ugly is going to happen, because they're going to make ugly things happen because we teach them to do ugly things, and we want to keep them in that frame of mind. If we lose that grasp on being able to control their behavior in a manner that they are non-constructive, except when we want them to be constructive. When we want them to be constructive for our benefit, then we'll allow them to do something constructive. But when they're among each other, see to it, watch them real close, and see to it that they don't do anything constructive. Because when they do something constructive, it means we're out of business. And we don't intend to be out of business. And what is our business? Mistreating people based on color. That's our business. That's our reason for being. That's our only reason for wanting to even breathe or be on the planet. What is the purpose of white supremacy? Mistreating people based on color for the fun, glory, and material benefit of people who are classified as white. That's the purpose of white supremacy in the modern day. Initially, it may have been another purpose, like genetic survival. But now they have been on such a roll for so long, it's for fun, glory, and material gain for the benefit of people classified as white, and for the complete confusion, destruction, and self-destruction among people classified as non-white. That's how they think the entire planet should be run forever.
We getting that money, nigga. Downtown in the building.
I'm a nigga with money. I'm a nigga with money. I'm a nigga with money, and I don't love that bitch. I tell a bitch, 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 make me rich. I'm a nigga with money, and I don't love that bitch. Yeah.
Don't kill me, even though I teach you how to do it. Kill your brother and the fellow down the street. And anybody who remotely looks like you. Kill it. Kill it. Harm it. Kick it. Curse it. Write a song about kicking it and killing it and cursing it. And try to get everybody to listen to it. And then go out and do it. And try to get them to do it. And call that our culture. And then it becomes officially codified. Why? Because it's the only logical way to go about doing it. That's why. You don't have no other options. If you got options, you put the options in there. It's not an option. Why? Based on logic. Based on the logic of what? You can't tell who's a racist and who isn't. You can't really testify under oath that a person is not a racist. A person may do that, but that's a gamble. Because non-white people have been fooled too many times by racists who came bearing gifts and declaring that they are not racist. I don't have a racist bone in my body. Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. What reason do I have to believe you? Because I said so, and I got plenty of other people. Plenty of other people like whom? Well, there's a lot of black people who say that I'm not racist. Well, suppose you have fooled them. Oh, come on. I mean, you got to believe something. Yeah, I believe you could be a racist. That's what I believe. Because racism still exists. But nobody can ever find one. White people and black people say racism still exists. It's still a major problem. Everybody agrees on that. But you say, well, who are these racists? Where do they live? And all like that. Oh, they're out there somewhere. Well, does anybody have an idea who they are by name? Everybody goes silent. Can you find a few? Yeah, I think it's one or two up there in Utah somewhere, you know. There are 9 areas of activity. The 7th area is religion. And economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. The white supremacists, when they got the idea that they were going to establish something called white supremacy, they said we have to dominate these people in all areas of activity, including their religion, particularly their religion, because religion is what? A strong belief backed up by action. That's all any religion is. And the white supremacists said we're going to make white supremacy the strongest religion that has ever existed. They have succeeded in that. They are not in the process of doing that. Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Confucianism, Judaism,
all of these other religions don't come anywhere close to being as strong as the religion of white supremacy. A strong belief backed up by action. So people are in complete disarray. Confusion, which is what the white supremacists do. They confuse people. Well, we got them confused. We're working on getting them all confused sexually. But we have long ago got them confused when it came to the seventh area of activity, religion. All of these dark-skinned people around here killing each other, hitting each other over the head with the Bible, having endless barbershop arguments about what Ezekiel meant, or what Solomon did or didn't do, or what Ruth said or didn't say. We got them confused. That's what we do. We take any holy book and we read it, and we thoroughly add to it and subtract from it. And then we distribute pamphlets, or samples of it, that adds to the confusion. With our names on it. And we establish different type of churches and whatnot. Different church on every corner with a different name. Supposed to be the same religion, but we got a different church with a different name. Adding to the confusion. Go over here to the Protestant church. Oh, no, they don't know what they're talking about. Then go over here to the Catholic church. And, oh, no, they don't know what they're talking about. Well, what about Jehovah's Witnesses? Okay, well, we'll sample some of that. And they don't know what they're talking about. And then the white supremacists sit back, well, when it comes to all you dark-skinned people, you got one religion. And that's the religion that I say that you have. But I might say, depending on how I feel, that you will have all of them at once or none of the above. But you will bow down to one religion, and that's the religion of white supremacy. I don't care what you think in your heads, and you black people can argue all you want to in the barbershops over there on the colored side of town, or in your millions of churches. You can scream and yell and stomp and holler, but when the white supremacists walk into your church and say, all of you, get on your knees to me, because I'm the one who feeds you, clothes you, shelters you, and even allows you to have a church on this corner rather than a parking lot. So you will do what I say, or you will feel my wrath. I'm your God, and don't you ever forget it.